So good morning viewers and welcome to Career Pathshala. We have a very special guest today and an important session on global opportunities for you in digital transformation powered by AI/ML. And we have Kaustubh sir, Senior Director from Cognizant, coming and talking about the opportunities in the globe for digital transformation. There's a lot being happening in our past classes. We heard about data, we heard about cybersecurity. Yesterday in automobile, we were hearing that everything is going to be connected, and very soon we will be having the interconnected networks globally, making disruptive business practices and new things coming in. So with all this in the background, we thought of making this session a more of interactive and a general session where Kaustubh sir will be covering all the aspects for digital transformation from global perspective. So to introduce sir, sir is a senior director with Cognizant. He carries more than 21 years of experience in the space of data analytics and AI. I think these terms 21 years back were probably in the nascent stage. So sir has seen the data analytics and AI things growing from scratch in the business. Sir is a part of leadership team of Cognizant Digital Business, which is a very important part in Cognizant's business. Sir's recent role is into global AI leader of Cognizant. He's a market head for various markets like prominent markets including Australia, UK, Middle East, and India. And he has managed large business portfolios of more than 330 million US dollars. So we are glad that we have with us someone who is the center head for AI and analytic practice for Pune and Mumbai location, a very important person, and it's really difficult to get time from people like him who are who against whom clients and so many people are after. So, sir, thank you so much for giving time and coming to the show. When I was talking to Kaustubh sir, he said, let's try to make it more generalized. Let's not go into technical details, but I'm okay. And I would really want more and more questions to be taken, and we'll keep the general perspective. So welcome to Career Pathshala again, Kaustubh sir. And we are glad and delighted to have you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anuj. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, and looking forward for an interesting session with the entire team today.
Sir, Shikha, we would like for you to welcome on behalf of the students.
So, namaskar and a refreshing morning to all the viewers, and a very warm welcome to Mr. Kaustubh Laturkar sir, Senior Director Cognizant. The new digital society, digital transformation is becoming a dynamic norm. And for this, Kaustubh sir will be interacting with the youth about the global opportunities in digital transformation powered by AI and ML. We are fortunate enough to have you here, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining me.
Thank you so much, Shikha. Great to be here.
So the stage is set, the context is brought in, sir. So to start with, we would like to know your journey, because you have you don't look like having a 21 years of experience, looking more younger than to me. And how was your journey, and from your school, college to now as a senior director? So a small sharing of your journey of life, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much for the compliment. And my looks are a little deceptive, nothing much. So I'm a mechanical engineer by education, and ever since that, after I did my engineering, got into IT by accident, and so ever since that, it has been a great journey. Right, starting from my first year till today, I've been part of data analytics, AI, and all of those areas. I started my career with a company called TCS, and then went on to Wipro, and then almost for more than 17 years, I'm part of Cognizant now. Typically worked with a number of global clients, and the entire digital transformation wave that all of us see today. I'm personally very excited, because what it actually means for each one of you on the call is nothing but the global opportunities. And the way I want to kind of conduct this session today is not to kind of just brief you from one side, but keep it very, very interactive. I don't use any PPTs. I'm not a great fan of showing a lot of PPTs and talk about something, but I will keep it a little free flowing. But I will try to focus on what is the opportunity that this world now in the business is creating for each one of you, and more importantly, what is that you should do today to get those type of opportunities. So feel free to stop me anywhere if you're getting bored. Stop me that out there, and then feel free to write a number of questions on the chat. So I'll be happy to explain a little more. I will keep talking about number of stories so that we will have a good refreshing morning out here.
Yes, sir. So to begin with and to set the context, like we keep hearing a lot about the digital and the digital transformation everywhere. So wherever it is IT, it's all about digital transformation. So what you actually mean by this true digital transformation, sir? Because this covers everything and around, and we keep hearing. So what is this all about, digital transformation, sir?
Sure. So you must have heard from number of speakers over last few days in terms of analytics and artificial intelligence, IoT, and customer experience, and so on. I thought that I will give you a quick perspective of what do we really mean by that, right? So this session should actually be very life-changing for each one of you rather than just what yet another session, right? So I'll try to explain that. Digital transformation, typically, let me take one example, right? Some of us typically used to go to bank, maybe our parents and all of that, right? So they used to go to a bank to open an account in the past. Today, if you look at, none of us kind of go back to any branch of a bank and say, you know what, I want to open a bank account. So what has really changed in last so many years is the fact that initially they used to take a lot of documents from our parents in the branch, and the front office person used to kind of check a number of things, and after 7 days or 8 days the account used to get opened. Now what has really changed today is that entire front office, middle office, back office, that is replaced with technology, and we don't go to a branch for opening a bank account, right? In fact, we don't go to the branch at all, almost. So the entire ecosystem has been replaced by technology, wherein likes of some of the banks, I will not take some names, but the moment you get into any application, you fill in few details and you are done with that, right? They already know much more about you than kind of you know about yourself, right? Many times. So the opening the bank account itself using technology has reimagined the entire spectrum. So what is the digital transformation, right? So digital transformation, the most important thing is reimagining the underlying business, right? So the business could be creating a movie, running some type of a show. It could be opening a bank account. It could be the clinical trials in pharma industry. It could be automobile, selling cars. It could be anything, right? The underlying business process that you have today, can you reimagine that using the new technology? That is the true digital transformation. So for example, if you say, hey, you know what, I'm creating some type of chat bots or something like that, right? So the digital transformation is not just about using technology. The most important part, as I said, is about the underlying business process. So anybody who comes and says, hey, you know what, we are selecting you to work on a digital transformation project, your first question should be, what is the underlying business process that you are trying to reimagine, right? Thereby improving the customer experience and so on, right? So that becomes very important. And that's the reason digital transformation is all about business more than technology, right? So why the CEOs are getting involved right now in all the digital transformation projects, and why the IT is not driving them? The reason for that is this is touching the way the companies are doing business, right? And at Cognizant, we have a team called Future of Work, which collectively brings in more than 100 years of experience. And we did a very interesting study for more than 2,000 companies in the world, okay? And these 2,000 companies in the world typically represent 48% of world's GDP. It's a good sample to study. what we found out from them, all the execs that we interviewed and spoke to, was very interesting. What they said is the amount of money that we are pumping into the system today on digital transformation in the world is in terms of few trillion dollars. Okay, which you can imagine in terms of after America, after China, if you create a country, right, with that much amount of money, it will be like world's maybe third economy, and you can call that country as something like Republic of Digital or something like that. So that much amount of money is getting pumped into the system today. So you can imagine the amount of opportunities that each one of you actually can grab into that, right? So that's the amount of future that we are talking about. The study that we did, we also compared this with some of the other world revolution, right? So for example, when none of us were born, the steam engines were invented, right? So the steam engine itself was a world revolution. Or electricity, when it was invented, everything was manual up until then. But the electricity was invented, and that also was a world revolution, right? Similarly, we are seeing digital AI and all of these technologies. This is the fourth world's revolution, right? So this is not just yet another trend. We call it as a world revolution. And every revolution in the past has followed something called as a S curve. The way we write S, all the world revolutions follow S curve. Now it starts from the bottom, it picks up, okay, and then there is a slow period as it picks up, and eventually, the moment it picks up the momentum, it goes on the top and explodes in terms of opportunity. So what we as a company we are predicting is the digital era, right, has already gone through that stage of picking up, the slow stage. Right now, we are almost at the top of the S curve, which means that from 2015, 2016 onwards till 2040, we are seeing that these opportunities are going to explode, right? So a lot of the youngsters on the call, we call them as digital natives because you have not seen the world behind, right? So you guys are digital natives. For you, being on Insta, being on Facebook, social media, opening, or using online media is something which is natural. And I mean, you probably will feel that, hey, is there anything like you going to a branch or going to some shops, and why the hell you are doing that, right? So that type of thing. So we are seeing up until 2040, the opportunities are going to be global, and the opportunities are going to be absolutely exploding in the market, which we are seeing in the current world today, right? Especially after COVID, what has happened is whatever could get online has gone online in last 3 months, right? Everything that could actually go online is now online in last 3 months, right? So the clients are saying our digital transformation agenda has got preponed now because of COVID. So the way the pharma companies are doing clinical trials, or the automobile companies are trying to sell the cars, or the way the clients are interacting with their end consumers, the way they are driving customer experience is changing in a big way because everything is online, right? So how do you really make sure that there is an omni-channel type of a customer experience, right? So that's what every client is currently looking at. So that in a nutshell is a typical true digital transformation. As I said, it's all about business because you are reimagining the way you are doing business. I'll take another very interesting example around it, right? So we always say that there are 3 M's which are required for any digital transformation. Okay. So the first M is, say, machine. In the past, the machines used to be like the rail engine or so on and so forth to bring the coal and all of that, right? So that used to be, those type of machines used to be there. Today, what are the machines? The machines are nothing but your algorithms, right? Your data and all of that, the data sciences, right? That's your machine today. Second M that is required is model, business model. What is a great example of a company that reimagined the entire transportation industry in the world today? Ola, Uber, right? Great example. Do they own a single car in the world? They don't own a single car. What they've done is they've created a beautiful app. Okay, using technology, they have reimagined the entire transportation. So that's a change of business model. So the second M required is M, which is the business model. The third M required for any digital transformation is material, raw material. Now, the raw material in the past used to be water for steam engines, coal for all of these industries. Today, what is the raw material? The raw material today is data, right? Data is fueling the digital transformation. So that's the reason that everybody says, hey, data is new oil, data is new currency, data is new air. You'll keep hearing a lot of these terms that, data is everything. So that's the reason data is at the center of any digital transformation, right? And we are talking about data coming in, like all of us are discussing some interesting topic this morning, right? This is data. We are creating a lot of data, right? So people asking a lot of questions and feedbacks and so on and so forth. So these three M's are required for any digital transformation. So I will take a pause. That is what is a true digital transformation.
So, in a nutshell, that the digital transformation was done by the technology and now to business, and from now business is taking the lead in making more digital transformation. So it was digital technology creating business, and now business driving and making more new technologies coming in place. So very quite
Yes,
interesting, and yes,
the business is driving it, the technology is supporting the transformation. So obviously
definitely.
the first layer is business. There has to be a business case for you to get onto this journey.
So this is a very important perspective Kaustubh has brought in, because the need why everywhere it is digital happening, from your TV screens to your mobile phones and new apps and your new changes happening. It's all because now business is done digitally. So we definitely are the your words on having a digital republic definitely resonates with the type of business the digital world is bringing in. Yes, Shikha, you have something to ask?
Sir, first of all, it's a big relief for our generation that from 2021 to 2040 we are going to have a, a peak point for the digital world. And I have a question, sir. What is the role of AI
Sure.
in the digital transformation?
In terms of AI, as I said, data is at the center of everything that we do in digital transformation. Artificial intelligence, and I mean, this is not new, right? AI is not new in the market. I mean, even in 70s and 60s, people used to work on AI. So AI, in our opinion, is not about some type of Rajnikant coming in and then able to solve everything. That's not about what AI is. See, AI is all about the business use cases to solve business problems. And look at the word, right? Artificial intelligence. What is artificial about it? Artificial about this term is ability to process lot of data, right? I mean, imagine likes of Netflix and Google and Facebooks of the world, getting so much amount of data getting generated all across the world, right? Will you be able to process it manually? No, right? So all of that has to happen artificially. So the machine is never tired. Second thing is intelligence, right? Humanly, it is not possible for anybody to really make sense out of that data, and that's the reason that intelligence comes into picture, right? So for imagine a doctor, right? So a doctor having 30 years of experience, he or she will always be dependent on his or her experience of so long in terms of treating the patients. But if you look at AI today, right, AI models are able to bring in collective experience of all the doctors in the world to treat a patient, right? Because it doesn't get tired at all, because it's obviously artificial, right? How can you really bring in that collective experience by leveraging data is what really matters for any digital transformation, right? So artificial intelligence is different than a typical digital transformation, but they are supplementary and complementary to each other. So that's the role of AI within the digital transformation.
Great, sir. So AI will be a big change maker in digital transformation, and definitely, as Shikha said, that the coming years would be a very big transformative into changing the entire way the business works globally. And with digital, definitely, it's like not anything with local, but you can connect globally. Like we are sitting here at three different places and coming together. So beautiful and so much possibility. I also very much echo your one statement that जो भी business होना है in this COVID has brought it digital. Whichever is possible digitally has already happened. So the roots and the seeds of a lot of business to go digital and go from here will bring a lot of opportunities for students to work in data science, AI, and take this digital revolution ahead. The M of material is data and also the talent which can drive this digital transformation. So going ahead, sir, we have a question that what are the trends and business use cases where global clients are leveraging on AI in digital transformation, sir?
Sure. In terms of trends, I can just go on and on, or the business cases, right? So I will try to simplify that in terms of how we are surrounded by AI, right? And it comes in from our experience of working with a number of global clients. So you get up in the morning, right? And then you typically use your smartwatch to have your alarm. You kind of get up in the morning. It will tell you that how your sleep was, and in fact, it tells me in terms of the entire analysis of how many hours I've slept and how the pattern basically was, and so on and so forth. Right? You start with that. The moment you get on to cleaning your teeth and brushing and all of that, what we have seen is the world is moving towards something called as a smart brush, and we have worked for a couple of global clients. It will tell you that what has been the pattern in terms of the way you are brushing your teeth, right? Is it adequate enough or not, and so on and so forth. Especially this use case is very useful for moms who got this kids. It can tell you that your kid is basically not spending enough time on brushing the teeth for adequate amount of time or pressure or whatever that analytics could be, right? So smart brush is something that we've seen becoming very common in the Western world for now. Then the moment you get onto the breakfast table, right? Look at your dish, and some of the health freaks like me, I will take a picture of the breakfast, and there are a number of apps which will tell you that what are the typical calories that are kind of within the breakfast, how well you're doing on the proteins versus carbs and all of that. You don't have to really get on to calculating anything. The moment you take a picture, your AI algorithm is able to treat and interpret, saying that this is this type of kind of eatable, and so many calories, so many proteins, everything is pre-built, right? And those type of apps are readily available today, so you can track what you are doing. The moment you go for jogging, running, gym, whatever, right? I mean, it's all surrounded with a lot of health related apps today. And in fact, one very interesting thing that one of the owners of one app who told me that who is my competitor, the person is running a company with some health app. Okay, it's called Goki, and he made a very interesting statement that who is the competitor today for Goki as a health app? He said nobody else but the laziness, right? So that's a type of so these companies are actually targeting different human behaviors, right? So that's what we typically do when you're getting onto a gym, right? When you're in office, you're all surrounded by a lot of these technologies. Now with post-COVID situation, the moment you get in, we've got number of cameras, CCTVs and stuff. They're able to identify you as an employee as well. So once you get in, you work on your desk. Once you are coming back, you typically have your Google Maps and so on and so forth, right? So the entire day is all surrounded with not just a lot of these apps, but a lot of these technologies, which are making your life a much better place than what it was. So things are becoming very easy, right? I will add one specific point to this entire technology discussion, right? Technology is for us as human being, right? So we have created the technology, right? So the human factor in anything and everything that we all do as part of digital transformation is super critical. It is very easy to bring in a predictive model, a data science model, right? It's very easy to do that. The question is, how is that helping me as a human being is super critical. So for example, if I'm a pharma company and I want to sell my tablets or something, right? For me, what is important is how well I understand the end consumers. If I'm a retail shop, what is important for me is how well I understand my end consumers as a human being. So the thinking patterns, the behaviors of human is a big area in itself that's going to become very, very critical as the technology is picking up. The human behavior related science is also going to be extremely critical. So any of you having that sense towards or interest towards human behavior, psychology, and digital psychology, and all of that stuff, you guys have a bright future, because more and more apps and technology that you get surrounded with, the need for understanding human behavior is even more significant than what it was before. I will try to conclude that human factor with one very interesting example. Okay, we as a company, we bought 49% stake in a European and US based company called Red Associates. Okay, now we are a hardcore technology company, right? So what we still have done is we have invested into a company that deals with human behavior, and I encourage each one of you to Google Red Associate, RED, Red Associates. It's a Copenhagen and New York based company, and you should listen to some of their videos. These are amazing and incredibly different things, right? So they hire people who understand human behavior extremely well. So what they do is their proprietary technology or proprietary way of working is in terms of observation. So if we give them a business problem, in fact, we have solved very interesting problems through human behavior plus technology. We have solved how frauds are conducted in some of the banks, the credit card related frauds, how to avoid those type of frauds, not just predicting that there will be a fraud, but also looking at how the fraudsters really think. And then you build a software that is able to work as anti-fraud software, right? So we have solved a lot of problems with fraud within a lot of banks dealing with credit card. We have solved some of the interesting problems in terms of a large, or probably the largest toy manufacturing company in the world. They had a lot of issues in terms of certain toys they were not able to sell. And they came back to us and said, hey, you know what? These are the toys which are not getting sold in the market. And we used Red Associates to front end that discussion. Red Associates with human experts, they convert business problem into a human problem, okay? And we support them from a technology perspective, right? So business plus human plus technology working together. The problem that Red Associates solved for the toy manufacturing company was how to increase revenue, and all of that is routine, right? But we solved why kids play. Imagine that if I tell you why kids play, right? And you are a toy manufacturing company, what else you need in the market, right? The moment you know why kids play, you're able to change your strategy of manufacturing toys according to that logic, and that's how they started selling more and more type of toys in the market. And it's a great case study because they were kind of going down in their revenue, and now they are world's number 2 toy manufacturing company in the world. So across, whether it is fraud management or across these manufacturing companies, lot of oil and gas type of companies. So we have solved number of these problem statements using human behavior plus technology together. So always remember that the technology is all for us, okay? And whatever we all do is going to be for humanity, making our lives better place than just technology for the sake of it, right? So if you look at the biases in the system, Dr. Anuj and Shika and everybody, biases in the system is a very interesting field. And again, that's another input from my side. Anybody who is interested in solving those things, unbelievable future for them as well. And what I mean by that, biases in the system. All of you have smartphones right now, right, with you. You can just go to Google, okay, and type carpenter, okay. Type carpenter on your smartphone, Google it, and go to images. What do you see? Is the system biased? Can anybody put that on the chat? Or type CEO. You will see a pattern of images which are coming up. Okay. Or for example, enter say grandfather or grandmother. Google that term. You will see a pattern of images which is coming up. For example, the moment you type CEO, not more than 15-20% of images are women related images, right? Most of the CEOs shown in Google, the moment you Google it, right, are men. The moment you say carpenter, most of the images are going to be men who are working as carpenters. Or the moment you say grandfather or grandmother, you'll see most of the images are white men or white women, right? There are hardly any Asians which are shown there. And Google is all this all is based on public data, right? So imagine the public data itself is biased so much towards so many things, right? The way you build or predict something, right, has to be de-biased. So for example, if we build a predictive model using AI to say whether I should approve a loan for this person or not, and if my data is biased towards certain community or gender or race or whatever, or country or whatever, right, is the decision going to be right? The decision is not going to be right because your underlying data is totally biased in the system. So always remember that this entire debiasing of the system, whether the biases in the data, biases in the algorithms, biases in the decisioning, is something that needs to be removed more and more when we are getting on to automated technology. This is a huge field, and a lot of research is already happening into that field. So again, terrific opportunities for each and everyone as part of that as well. So I will take a pause. That's what AI is all about, and these are the type of use cases, Dr. Anuj.
So Kaustubh, like which so much happening. So, and you're seeing the industry from last 20, 21 years. And so definitely anything which is bringing a change in business, society, behavior. And as you rightly said, the new customer is our behavior, not our needs. So with that is going the way you behave, you thought, people are trying to catch that and trying to bring you to the product. So once your thoughts are with aligning with the business line, automatically you will definitely come back and look for the like shopping with an app and whatever. So what challenges you feel like still the pace of global transformation in India and in abroad? So what are the basic challenges which are there? The mindset of people not willing to change, or the infrastructure. So what are the major challenges for the industry in this digital
The
transformation?
biggest challenge that we see today is skills, the gap in skills. Okay. While there are so many opportunities and it is just the start, right? It is just exploding right now. It is just the start. What we see in the market today is the skills are basically lacking in our youngsters, because this is something which is a new thing, right? So nobody has experience in terms of how these entire transformations are working. This is a new wave in the market, right, for last few years, and it is basically exploding, as I said. I would recommend each one of you to kind of start looking at how to acquire those type of skills, and any expertise that you have, any liking that you have. There is place for everybody in this entire journey. Okay, you don't have to be a data scientist yourself always, right? I mean, data scientist is, some of the magazines call it as the sexiest job in the 20th century, right? Now, not everybody can be a data scientist because there is a lot that is required to be a data scientist. Now, the way this industry works is, right, starting from bringing all the data together, whether it is structured, unstructured data from images and videos and all of that, bringing that data together is a big skill. Building those data lakes is another skill. Modeling the data is another skill. Driving customer experience is another skill. IoT has got variety of skills within that, right? And then eventually the data scientist will look at all the data, build models, and make some sense out of it, create some actionable insights. That's another big skill in the market. And eventually, the moment you have actionable insights, what do you do with those insights, right? If I'm a business person, if I'm running a business of multi-million dollars, what matters to me is not your predictive model. I don't care about whether you use Python or R or something different, right? What matters to me is what it means for my business. So as a business person, what is very important is storytelling. Okay, that's one skill that I personally believe again has terrific opportunities in the world. Okay, and I will take example of the movie called Dangal. I hope that most of the folks on the call have seen this movie, right? Shika, have you seen that movie? Okay, so Dangal as a movie, and I hope some of you kind of remember the way the story flows, right? Um, The first scene in Dangal is in the office, right? Wherein Amir Khan and the other person, they fight in the office, and the other person says, you have lost to a state champion, and Amir Khan replies saying that you have lost to a national level champion, right? What have they shown in that scene? Why is that scene important? The scene is important because they have established the central character in the movie, right? In the corporate world, what we do is we start with that slide saying that our capabilities, we are 50,000 people working on digital skills and this and that, right? That is who we are. In the movies, what they show is who is the central character in the movie, right? Then Amir Khan goes back home, and then they've shown that, hey, you know what, I want to win gold medal for India. That's what he says. What have they shown in the subsequent scene? They have shown what is the business objective. What is the objective that this person has, right? In the business terms, he wants to win the gold medal. Then they have shown that the daughters are born, right? What have they shown in those scenes? They have shown that what are the constraints in the system, right? What are the limitations? What are the business problem statements that our clients are facing today, right? They have an objective, but they're not able to meet that business objective because they have got constraints and limitations and business problems. That's what Amir Khan and the team has shown when the daughters are born. And the daughters go and they slap a couple of boys and they come back. What have they shown in that scene are business opportunities, right? He sees the opportunity that, hey, the daughters also can become good wrestlers, right? So they've shown opportunity. What we do in business is we also tell the client that, you know what, while you have these problems, but these are the type of opportunities that you have. Then they have shown the daughters kind of grow up and then eventually get onto training. So they have shown how to do that, how to solve a business problem, right? They've shown that. And then, as like any other good commercial movie or a commercial drama, story has to drop down even before it goes to all-time high, right? Towards the end. The reason for that is the story looks all-time high because it drops down just before that, right? So they have shown that Amir Khan gets locked up and stuff like that, and eventually she wins the gold medal, right? So exactly similar what we do in the business is we tell them, Mr. Client, when you get onto a digital transformation journey, we know that these are the problems that you will face based on our learnings from some other client engagement. So we tell them that we know where you will fail, and that's where we are there to help you. So this entire storytelling is an art plus science, and this is another big area in itself, which I believe there are tremendous opportunities, because the reason for that is any analytics, any model that we build using AI, right? It is successful only when the business adopts it, right? So for example, if somebody comes and says, Dr. Anuj, I have built a predictive model in terms of what all students will get into campus interviews, and we can predict that these are the students who will get jobs eventually. Okay, you will say that all is fine, right? But what really matters is, what should I do with that model? Should I speak to those students? Should I talk to everybody in terms of increasing the absorption rate? What should I do? So as a business person, what really matters is how that model, predictive model, how the technology is helping me in terms of my business outcomes, in terms of increasing revenue, reduction in terms of cost, or whatever it could be, or improving the customer experience, and so on and so forth. So adoption of technology by the business is all through the storytelling, and that's the reason I gave this example of Dangal. So that's another big skill that we see in the market as well.
Really true, sir. And दंगल का एक डायलॉग याद आता है कि जे एक बात हमेशा याद रखियो बेटा, कि अगर सिल्वर जीती तो आज नहीं तो कल लोग तुझे भूल जाएंगे, बट गोल्ड जीती तो मिसाल बन जाएगी, और मिसालें दी जाती हैं बेटा, भूली नहीं जाती. So that is a मिसाल which we have given to our viewers, and definitely ये मिसाल लोग नहीं भूलेंगे कि you have to be at the top. आप गेंडे की ताकत के साथ शेर की आपको स्फूर्ति भी रखनी है. So you have to be a leader, and this is something very phenomenal connect. And I'm a big fan of Bollywood. Sorry, sir. So bringing in some dialogues is always the way I take sessions. So quite resonating. A question from viewers before Shikha also has a question. So Veer Pratap probably is from a mechanical or electrical or core student. So he's very much concerned that AI is consuming jobs in core sector with automation increasing. And how are your views about it?
I'm a
Especially
mechanical
AI,
engineer.
science, mechanical, civil, electrical के लिए how this could be an opportunity.
Sure, sure. So I'm a mechanical engineer myself, right? So I can tell you my own experience. Um, Based on the study that we did, 12% 12% of the jobs in the market will go because of automation. Okay, 13% of the jobs will be fresh in the market, which never existed before. Okay, so these are the fresh new jobs in the market. So we believe that these 13% of the jobs are net new in the market. Interestingly, the remaining 75% of the jobs, okay, which is a large chunk, right, will exist, but they will not exist in the same shape and form, right? So whether it is electrical or civil or mechanical, any of these core branches, if you look at the core work that's happening right now in all of these industries, will no longer be the same that happened in the past. So for example, let's take a couple of use cases in civil, right? The way the companies are kind of constructing and so on and so forth, which is offerings like safe buildings and all of that, are picking up extremely well, especially after COVID, right? The norms are very different, right? Every building that you enter, you have to take the temperature and have all of these initial screening done, etc. So things are changing, right? So digital is augmenting these 75% of the jobs, but those jobs will continue to be there. So the core skills always will be there. What will happen is they will have to change the way they look at all of these type of engineering going forward. They have to look at it from a digital transformation lens. So for example, any mechanical type of a company, right? You don't have to kind of go and look at what has failed or something. You can always predict in terms of which machine is going to fail when, and more importantly, what you should do after that prediction, right? All of that can be done today. So the core branches, a good news for all of them is there are enormous amount of opportunities there. Nothing is changing for you guys from that perspective, but the lens in which you are looking at those opportunities will have to be different through the digital lens.
Shikha, can you read the question for sir?
So, Sir Kritika is asking, is it true that with the growth of AI, we will face more security issues and cyber attacks than before, as AI can be used for cyber attacks more effectively? Basically, she's asking about the cyber security type of things that can be caused after this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So not just with AI, but in general, right? More and more we are on the digital platform, online, and all of that. The security issues are going to be more and more, right? So absolutely yes. So cyber security continues to be yet another branch within digital that will continue to have huge amount of focus always, right? Because we are kind of increasing, and especially within India, right? If you look at the smartphones, the way they are kind of increasing, all these online platforms globally as well. Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. Cyber security is going to be of paramount importance going forward.
Yes, Shikha, you have a question. I think you want to ask something. You are wait.
I think she's on mute.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So, sir, how should the students should prepare themselves for the global opportunities that are opening up, that are coming up? How should we prepare ourselves?
Sure.
A related
Everybody
question on
already,
screen that as
please.
college kids, what skills they should acquire and how to be prepared for this global opportunity. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, a valid question. All of this is good. What it means for me is more important, right? So, right question, guys. I will give you a few tips, and more than happy to help all of you in this entire journey, right? So, everybody, what do we need in life, right? All of us, finally, we want to be financially healthy. We want to take care of our parents, eventually get married, kids, buy some good convertible Mercedes or Ferrari, travel the world, and so on and so forth. And these are all the fancy stuff that all of us want to kind of do. Now, good news is that anything and everything that each one of you really want to achieve in your life is fairly achievable through the world of digital, because these are the opportunities that we are talking about, and these are global opportunities, by the way, right? So the locations are going to the boundaries are kind of becoming very diminishing, right? So there are no boundaries typically, so to say, and the world is kind of a global village. Few tips I will give you with whatever is your objective, right? So number one, whether you're part of mechanical or you're part of computer science or any branch, the world is clearly moving towards programming. Okay, so that drag and drop and all of those basic tools are gone. Okay, make sure that you're closer to a programming language. Okay, and it can be R or Java or Python or whatever. It can be anything, right? So make sure that you are closer to programming. Number two is the entire landscape, which I explained in terms of your IoT, customer experience, data, AI, visualization, data sciences, analytics, storytelling, business, everything. You need to choose one area based on your own expertise, liking, passion, whatever it is, right? And make sure that you get deeper into that, because it is not possible for a single person to have skills across the entire value chain. It is not possible. So make sure that you pick up something right away in terms of your area of interest and get deeper into that. So that's my tip number two. Number three is the world is really changing. The business world is really changing very fast. So the way you are available on Instagram and WhatsApp, we also there on Twitter. Twitter is a great source of a lot of information. It's an open technology wherein if you can start following a number of things on Twitter in terms of digital transformation, what different clients are really doing in the world, what are the type of trends, what type of opportunities, those are the things that you should always be kept abreast with. So make sure that you are there either on Twitter or wherever or whatever is the source of that type of an information. I am personally more than happy to be a mentor for each one of you into that entire journey as well, right? So that's my tip number three to you. Fourth is, if you look at what happens when you pass out from your engineering, right? Don't be under an illusion that some companies will come and hire and give you jobs if you continue doing the same stuff that you're doing today, right? So make sure that you're adding skills to your kitty. And what I mean by that is those global skills are to be acquired today. So for example, when we hire from certain colleges, we also differentiate between the top students and the common set of students. The reason for that is number of youngsters like you, right, are using AI, ML, data, interactive user experience. They are creating a lot of interesting proof of concepts because this technology is almost freely available. It's like commoditized, right? There are APIs by all the top players in the market. What you need is a good logic and, more importantly, a good business case. I will give you an example. I was part of the jury in one of the hackathons, and a group presented us a very interesting thing. There are a lot of apps that do a lot of these facial recognition, right? They look at your image and they're able to identify who that person is. These guys came up with a small proof of concept, and they said the ear is even more important because the ear has got more than 21 odd points which are very unique to that human being, right? They said, why use facial recognition? We can actually, so they built an app, okay, or a small solution to look at the ear, process the image, and identify the person. Okay, so I'm saying anything that you can think about in terms of a business use case, and again, I can also help you with that. You can use the technology, but that proof of concept, a small solution, has to be built today, right? You don't have to wait till you kind of graduate and then eventually get into a company and then do all of these things. You are competing with, I personally don't believe that this is all a competition, but still I'm saying from a job perspective, right? You're competing with your peers. You're also competing with people having 1, 2, 3 years of experience, right? So what matters today is when you graduate from your engineering, you kind of have 4 years of experience rather than saying, I've gone through my engineering. No, you have 4 years of experience when you graduate, right? So these are the business use cases that you have to be smart enough in terms of identifying, right? And then kind of build something which is useful for the industry and for yourself, right? So use this time of engineering for thinking in that perspective. So when you graduate, you are a professional, right? So that's going to be my next kind of a tip to you.
So a related question we already took, I think, enhanced our opportunity in AI ML field. Oh, so another question which is coming is on the future of AI and how AI is what much not explored, but what future stores we have beyond the AI, how deeper it will be influencing the market, business, and our way the way we live in future in next 4 5 years.
We
Your
pretty much
predictions
spoke
and your
about, yeah,
views
we
on
pretty
that.
much spoke about that as well, right? In terms of how AI is impacting us, from the morning till we sleep, right? So we all are covered with that. The business is heavily impacted. One point to add there is we don't think that AI will reside separately. AI is part of everything that we will be doing, right? So AI will basically enable the business in that sense. AI is part of everything that we all do in business, personal life, professional life, everything.
Shika, can you read this question for sir?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I can
So,
see.
sir, yeah, Veer is asking, sir, does AI will replace the developer's job because AI will be able to develop any software as request by client?
I think long
Job
way to go
replace?
for that type of a Rajinikanth or a Superman to come in and then do that type of a magic. As I said, it's all about that business use case and not really the magic. Don't expect any magic to happen. It's not going to be possible, at least in the foreseeable future that we believe. So AI will not replace developers. The developers are, in fact, are in huge demand, and that's the reason I said programming is extremely critical right now in the current situation.
So in this pandemic, some views and application of AI and digitalization in healthcare vertical, like Cognizant has been a forerunner in healthcare. So how you think not only as business but as a social and a service to society, AI and this digitalization can help us. Some views on that, sir.
Number of things, right? Maybe I will talk about one interesting thing. What we have is typically all of us keep talking about predicting something, right? So predicting the pandemic or predicting how it will spread, etc. But what is important is going beyond that and talking about how will that help any state government or a central government or whatever, right? Or any companies for that matter. We deal with a lot of prescriptive AI type of softwares. Okay, so you don't just predict something; you also tell in terms of the decisioning. So beyond the typical machine learning of prediction and all of that, we use these AI softwares to help any human being take a decision. Right? Today, the decisions are still taken by the human beings. Right? You predict something, the software predicts something, the humans are taking some decision. What we have built is the decisions also will be augmented by the AI, right? So we have something called evolutionary AI that works on principles of Darwin, the evolution theory of Darwin, and we have created a good solution across the market, different countries, based on the publicly available data from Oxford University. We have built a solution that talks about in number of countries, right, how the pandemic will spread, okay, with a number of these parameters and variables taken into account. But based on that spread, what that government should really do when they should open schools, right? These are the business questions or these are the social questions that anybody needs to answer because that's the final job of any model that you build, right? We were able to answer some of these questions using this prescriptive type of AI that I spoke about, which we call it as automatic machine learning. That's a new stage of machine learning, right? Auto ML. So that is what we have built a solution for a number of countries wherein we are able to prescribe in terms of open schools on this date, open these type of hospitals on this date, number of beds to be created on this date are so and so. So we go much beyond a typical prediction to a prescription as well.
True, sir. And but we are almost at the time's ending, and it was just like we just introduced you, so the time just flies away. So one important thing coming from students is what are they with AI and all these learning? There's so many online resources that students get confused. Any specific tips for the freshers to look at as reference to learn AI and to get more knowledge from internet for these issues?
Yeah, so two, three things you can do, regardless of any source, like whether it is, I will not take the names, but any of these sources are fine. I don't see, kind of a good, bad, ugly type of thing. And you can go and get into any source. Clear one cloud certification. It could be AWS, GCP, or Azure or whatever. Make sure that you complete one cloud certification. Second thing is clear one certification on any of the programming type of languages. Python or Java probably is what I will recommend at this stage for you. The third thing that you can create is you can do is different type of use cases, and all of these different education portals also give you a lot of these benefits in terms of different industries, what are they trying to do and stuff like that. Build a POC using cloud and programming on a particular use case. I think if you do these three things, you're good to go.
Very relevant and important message sir has given. So we are at almost the closure of the timelines, but any final tips for the students who would be appearing for campus hiring beyond AI and beyond digital? They're like your final comments. Students are at home from last 4 months, looking at issues of having internet connection, limited data, limited bytes connectivity, and now the placements have started. So your final words as a coach, as the Amir Khan of Dangal, what to do, even so that they can remember a small message or a small story or whatever, how the way you want to inspire them, sir.
The companies are coming to you for hiring, right? So there are opportunities for you, right? They are coming to you only to hire. What really matters is give reasons for why they should hire you, right? And make sure that you prepare yourself like a project when you are appearing for these written tests or personal interviews and so on and so forth. Storytelling is one thing that I have already told you, that there has to be a story. Why in the reality shows, if you look at, right, why do they show that the person has coming from this background, that background, has got some problems at home, but still singing or dancing extremely well, right? Why do they show that background? Is all about story, right? So you need to create your own brand. You need to have that story of yourself, and that basically sells than anything in the market. Second thing that I will say is your skill is your currency in this world, right? So anything and everything that will follow that you have dreamt of always, right? Your skill is your currency. So make sure that you acquire and continue to acquire a number of these skills. And my third point will be just as a concluding remark. It's an open global world. Okay, the world is waiting for all of you guys. I personally believe that each one of you are capable to create terrific futures for yourself. So dream big. Okay, prepare yourself, put a lot of efforts, and the world is yours. As I said again, I'm more than happy to be your coach, mentor, friend, whatever it needs in the entire journey of making you successful, and then kind of claiming that as a victory.
So really, thank you so much, sir, for your words, and definitely we also thank Cognizant for bringing in such resources who have been always coming up and talking to students in their language, making them understand. So Costa sir, it was indeed a very interactive, very very a session which has made things simpler, and we were really glad to have you in our career Pathshala, because the true essence of a professor or a teacher is to make things simpler. जिस तरीके से you have made AI and digitalization so simpler with a lot of case studies, with a lot of examples. So even students who will be watching, who are watching this, and we are getting a lot of comments, but in the interest of time, we took few. For others, we'll definitely come back. And in this morning, coming up, taking an early morning session with us, we really are thankful to you and grateful. This was really one of the best storytelling on AI, sir. Honestly, like a person from electronics, I graduated 20 years back, but the way you connected and brought the relevance of digitalization and AI will inspire a lot of young minds to walk on these fields with all confidence, and it will be a great encouragement for students to learn more. So thank you so much, sir. Shikha, your final words, and before we take some words from Kaustubh, sir.
Thank you so much, Kaustubh sir, for enlightening our paths and inspiring us. This was such an informative session. I mean, I can just relate everything like storytelling and then programming, and then just thank you so much, sir, for just taking out this time from your busy schedule and just enlightening our paths. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here, and wishing all the best to each one of you. Thank you so much.
So we hope and we look forward for having you back in Career Pathshala, and thanks for your guidance and being here. So viewers, we had today a very interesting session with Kaustubh sir, and we look forward for meeting you tomorrow at 4:30. Thank you again, Mr. Kaustubh, for coming in and making us a good start of the day.
Sure. Good day all. Thanks all again.
Thank you, sir.